Well, hello. What's going on here then, Dan?
Well, good evening, everyone.
Well,
Yes, nice to see you. Yeah.
I think you scared him off then, Dan.
Oh dear, poor James.
Where's James gone?
I don't know.
I think the joke was run a little too long and he wimped out. Here he comes. He's coming back.
I've assessed the situation and I've left.
Oh, we love the panic look on James's face.
I enjoyed it.
What?
Right.
What happened? I was just there on my own. What do you guys do?
We
Can't
left.
be in charge of anything.
We thought we'd just see what happened if you got left to your own devices.
Oh,
You
Well-
panicked and left as well.
So, hello, welcome along to Let's Talk Trek. We are the UK's best running and longest running Sunday night Star Trek video podcast. That is accurate because we are on Sunday night. Other ones and other nights might be better. I don't know. But anyway, that's us. So, I'm Dan from Trekkies Galactic Galaxy. With me tonight on my side, on that side, it's Carl.
Good evening.
Evening. Down below me, it's Richard. And then down that way, it's James.
no, I'm Stringfellow Hawk from 80s hit TV show Airwolf, where there is no problem that can't be solved with a super sonic attack helicopter.
Really?
Yes.
What about if none of your other hosts show up for your event?
You just wheel out the helicopter. I think that would usually keep people entertained.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, let's have a look. First blood. Linda, first on tonight. Well done. Hello, how you doing? Then it's Tim. Meg. Linda.
Hi, Megan.
Tim and Linda are having a conversation by themselves. Ben Dobson's in. He's in Liverpool. We know
Good
this.
evening.
Hi, Tim.
Right, so let's go into this. It is a Star Trek chat show once a week. We do this. Hello to all the people that are currently viewing us. If you enjoy our chat show every week, make sure to leave us a thumbs up or a heart react. If you're rewatching us in the week and you're not watching us live, you can still leave us thumbs up and heart reacts, but we probably won't be asking your questions on a replay. So you can.
Unless we do it like that Doctor Who episode of Blink, where we get a forward copy of the manuscript. We could give that a try one week. I'm happy to give it a
Now I've got
go.
a really horrible feeling there's a weeping angel behind me. I really don't want to look.
Well, you must look. That's the whole point.
I don't want to look. Oh my God.
You must look, otherwise they get you.
Right. Let's have a look. What are we doing today? What do we normally do? We normally do cocktails. Let's do cocktail first. That sounds like a great thing. James, time to get drunk.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Booze Reviewz from Youz. This evening's cocktail is the Orion Tearjerker. This is a Discovery-inspired cocktail. And for this, you're going to need a cocktail shaker.
There it
In
is.
this case, ice already in there. Prepare your caption. The first thing you're going to need is 2 parts of, where's the camera? There we are. Mugato milk. Now, if you can't access Mugato milk, in this case, why not use double cream? Wish I'd brought an extra measuring vessel up here. Otherwise, the second thing you are going to need is 1 part of Michael Burnham's Tears. Now, these are usually in plentiful supply, but if you're not able to get hold of those, then instead, 1 part whiskey. Obviously, I only ever use Irish whiskey. Won't touch anything Scottish, obviously. So let's have that in there. And the last part you will need is 1 part of Orion pheromones. And what do we know about Orion pheromones, gentlemen?
They don't exist in the century that
They are
discovers them.
green. So let's have those in there. If you can't get Orion pheromones, then why not substitute creme de menthe? So, here we go. So far, so good.
Someone get him a new one for Christmas?
With ice. Sorry, Carl?
Did someone get you a new one for Christmas?
It's the same one. It's the one you're familiar with. Let's see how this turns out. Ooh.
Ooh.
Have a look at that.
That looks rather lush.
Looks like a milkshake, doesn't it?
Looks like someone's put an arrow in the wither.
And garnish, of course, with a cherry. So
It's always good when your garnish doesn't just fall to the bottom.
it's kind of like someone has cried into an arrow. Yes, I quite like that. So the Orion Tearjerker, that's your drink for this evening, gentlemen. Bottoms up.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Right. So thank you for that, James. Don't forget, if you have got a Star Trek or a non-Star Trek inspired cocktail you would like James to make, and you can think of whatever it is, we can make the Star Trek inspired section. If you've just got an idea for a cocktail, we can shoehorn it in. Yeah.
Are you suggesting that I shoehorn these recipes in and they're not real?
No, I didn't see you write that recipe with 60 seconds to go on the timer at all.
No.
Right, let's have a look. Tim says, here we are 1 week on from the Discovery finale. We are indeed. We did a Discovery wrap-up video on
Thursday.
Hello. Yes, we all generally thought it was all right, to be honest.
What, the show or the Discovery?
Let's have a look.
Characterise the view that Richard and I took as thought it was all right, but there you go.
Nadim says hello. Hello, good evening. Right, so we've done cocktail, which is great. We have a couple of features every week. You know, you've watched this. You know how this works. So why
don't people mix these at home with me? 1 week we'll have a mix along. Ooh. We'll choose a recipe and we'll all make it together, and we'll get people to send us pictures of what they've made.
We'll publish it a week in advance so people can get the ingredients in, because at the moment it's not as simple as getting your butler to drive to the shop, is it? It's
no, you can't do that in lockdown, Dan.
Yes, before we get started into the show proper, we didn't cover this in our pre-show running order, but Megan's just reminded me that it's 1 year on from the Picard premiere that we all attended, and there was a video review that went up on the Trekkie's Guide and on the Riker's Beard, and for me it was a particularly lovely occasion. I was a bit drunk. I'd had a little bit to drink, and I'd like to take this opportunity to apologise to Megan, who we saw at the premiere, and I don't remember much other than that.
Amazing. Wow. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, so we'll have a mix along. Now, we didn't mention this in the show last week, but we are going to mention it now. Last week, you may remember, James made a variation on a cheeky Vimto. And for clarity, as some people have asked, James did not walk into his local corner shop and buy one single alcopop. He did send his slave to do it for him in the office. So,
well, it reminds me, James, how are you coping without your under butler?
Well, sometimes you have to just make do with a valet.
Right, let's have a quick look at the comments. Here we go. One for James. Bernity is so plentiful at Starfleet. Enhanced devotion on multiple planets to confirm finding a DNA across multiple planets.
Actually, on that point, I've been thinking about, because Burnham's just been made captain. Yeah. I remember when I was in the boys' brigade, we'd get told off for crying, but she's made captain of a starship and she can't even switch them off. I mean, wow.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a point. Maybe it'll improve in the next season. Who knows? Who knows?
I'm a little bit concerned. In the comments, Megan has mentioned that she didn't even notice that I was drunk, which that doesn't bode well for me, if I'm honest. If people only know me like that, then evidently I'm possibly drinking a little bit too, or having a lot of fun. It depends which way you look at it.
Right, Carl, can you press the VT on the next bit? It's your own feature, so you should be able to do this.
Okay.
I just have to be off.
Right, so not exactly a Star Trek collectible this week, but most certainly related to Star Trek. So last week, one of our viewers sent me this picture, and it is of Sir Patrick Stewart at the Amberley Theatre from his 2005 December run of Christmas Carol.
Was this his one-man show?
It was, yeah, one-man show, and it had already done prior to that. It had already done, I think, 3 seasons on Broadway and another one at a London theatre somewhere. I'm not sure which one, though. So it was well-established and well-received.
There we go, blimey.
So, yeah, this one, basically, the picture is the poster from the theatre, and then the programme is within that picture frame, which is signed by Sir Patrick Stewart. And the good thing about this, as we've mentioned on the show before, it's very difficult to get these things authenticated as genuine, and there is no better authentication than a photo of said actor signing the piece of memorabilia, which we have in the top corner here.
I mean, the thing is, no, I'm not going to be cynical and say the photo could be reproduced, because you're quite right. A certificate of authenticity can be reproduced.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot you can do, apart from if the actor says, "Look, I'll tell you what. Here's my personal mobile number. If anyone wants to know if it's true, you can get them to ring me up, and I'll say it's true." That being said, I'm really good at impressions. So if anyone wants to run this scam, I'm happy to take a slice of the pie, and I'll pretend to be Benjamin Sisko for anyone who wants to get a Benjamin Sisko autograph authenticated.
Really?
Well, yeah.
I'll ask him now. Yeah, it's definitely genuine. I'll put Benjamin Sisko on the phone.
Yeah. Hello, it's me. The certificate is definitely genuine.
Wonderful. There you go. £10,000, please.
We all love Richard's Cisco impression. So yeah, totally off my stride now. Where was I? So yeah, well, obviously, as we know, usually any of the main actors, especially people like Patrick Stewart, William Shatner, they do demand a hefty sum for their autographs at conventions, usually around the £70 mark. Now, as we know from the last convention that we were fortunate enough to attend, which was Destination Star Trek 19.
No, I went to the SF Ball in February 2020.
Oh no, I mean that Patrick Stewart was billed at.
Oh right, yes.
At that particular convention, he's unfortunately now to the point where he's not doing autograph sessions in person. So they had some pre-signed things, but obviously to get one signed and have a picture of him signing it there and then is going to get rarer and rarer. So I would, and it is an unusual piece. I would quite happily suggest, maybe not a Star Trek fan, but someone who's certainly into the theatre and definitely Sir Patrick's work, I would say you're probably looking anywhere between 10 to 12,000 pence.
Wow,
very nice.
That would be my estimation. I'd quite happily pay 10,000 pence for it if it was something that I would pick up, just because of the uniqueness of it.
I don't know if you guys have ever been lucky enough to see Sir Patrick treading the boards. I mean, it really is I was very lucky to see him with Sir Ian McKellen doing Waiting for Godot. And I just can't even begin to tell you the amount of presence that he and Ian McKellen had, the amount of presence they had on stage. That's clearly why he's such a good actor on screen, is because he's learnt to project his voice. He's come up through theatre rather than through television. And I think that's why he's so good.
No. Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah. So it's a lovely piece that Alan had.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Don't forget, if you do have a item that you would like Carl to give you an idea of how much it's worth.
I've got something. Right. I know before I've produced things that have been of questionable quality, but this week I've got something. This is a good one. So you were talking about last week. It was the opening of the anniversary of the opening of the Las Vegas Star Trek Experience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
I have here a genuine bath mat from the Star Trek Exhibition Experience. It's real velour. It's lovely velour. It really is.
Unusual
Right.
material for a bath mat.
Yeah. It works well, though.
Am I the only one who thinks it looks like a baby changing mat?
No, it's a bath mat. It's a lovely bath. The guy got it off of eBay. Said it was genuine from the exhibition. It says it on it. See? There you are. Lovely.
Beautiful piece.
What do you reckon? This would fetch.
So what's the next feature, Dan?
No. Actually, I think you should probably give him a valuation. To be fair, we do offer evaluation for all of our viewers, and I'd like to. Once you've done it, I'd like to point out a small flaw in Richard's. So I'll let you value it first.
Okay, Dan. Bath mat.
Bath.
Bath mat.
Be quiet.
I'm going to go quite conservative on the estimate for that one, Richard. I've got to be honest, I probably wouldn't stretch to more than, say, 399 pence for it.
I'm happy with that.
399 pence. Is that inclusive of postage?
Yeah.
Now you said you think it's genuine because it says the Star Trek Experience on it.
But it's a Star Trek.
That's not always true. As we've just discussed with collectibles, these things can be forged. For instance, this watch is not a Rolex. It might look like it, but it isn't, okay? Stop.
Blackpool had the exhibition.
That's a
Las
good
Vegas
point.
had the experience.
Yeah, so
Well, in which case, it's an authentic Blackpool bath mat.
Oh, in that case, I'm going to put my Rolex sticker back on my watch.
in which case, due to the misinformation that was given, it does invalidate my previous estimation, and I'm afraid I'd have to revise it.
Would it be more or less? Be less. Right. Well, either way, I like it. It's lovely.
I've got this CD here that says True Blood on it. Now, is this actually truly blood, or is it a compound?
Well, before we get ridiculous, you may have noticed, by the way, dear viewers, I disappeared off the screen for a moment.
Oh, that's lovely.
When Carl started his feature. I'm going to give you a life hint and a life lesson now. If you have a big tub of drawing pins on your desk, please don't drop them off halfway through a Trek short show onto the floor, because suddenly you have to disappear off camera and pick them all up before you impale yourself. So,
Or you could buy yourself one of these mats to put down,
well,
You
you
could
protect your feet, as I'm using at the moment.
could also buy yourself, and I think Carl might have a picture of them, the Star Trek slippers.
No, unfortunately, I couldn't find the ones you were referring to.
Oh, well, there's some Star Trek slippers going around at the moment.
We'll do them next week.
We'll do them.
For us, Dan, using the gift of words.
They are Goddard slippers from TNG. They are about $28, and they come in a variety of sizes.
Shuttlecraft Goddard.
Shuttlecraft Goddard, yes. Right, Carl, this is time to do the news. So in that way that... Already passed. Yeah, time to start progressing into the news. So let's put up the first slide, please.
Okay. What do we have here then, gents?
A missing apostrophe.
Patrick Stewart not in a 5 stars.
So this is the news that they have an actual category for sci-fi actors, which I hadn't realised actually that's a separate category. There was only going to be one winner, wasn't there? Let's be honest. I think if Picard hadn't have aired, for me personally, Doug Jones would have got it, but it had, so it was only going to go to Sir Patrick.
Well, yeah, so Sir Patrick picked up Best Actor in a Science Fiction or Fantasy Series. Doug Jones didn't get nominated.
Well, that's because a lot of people are stupid.
Are we just going to gloss over the fact that there are 5 lights behind him?
Actually, here's a bit of fun for people in the comments. Why don't you, if you think that there is someone who can offer a superior performance in a in a Star Trek series, past or present, tell us who. And if you'd like to give us the antithesis, the worst performance, in any Star Trek series. Let's see who you think that might be.
Yeah,
That'll be fun.
So yeah,
And
Sir Patrick
like-
beat off some stiff competition there, including from Pedro Pascal for the Mandalorian, which did
He was
unfortunately.
good in that.
Well, unfortunately, the Mandalorian did beat. The Mandalorian did end up beating both Picard and Discovery to best sci-fi series.
I think deservedly so. It was a superb series. I think we discussed this a couple of weeks ago when you take into account the difference in budgets. It always was going to be a fantastic show. I mean, I think it's 14 million
Yeah,
per
I think I recall you
episode.
saying something like that. Yeah,
And The Mandalorian was actually made and produced at a loss to promote Disney Plus. So if it didn't scoop up all the awards, I think someone would have been fired.
It's largely green screen, isn't it? The Mandalorian. I don't think there's
No, I thought it was. It's not. It's OLED projection screens. So what you're seeing is actually what the actor's seeing. It's projected on the screen that the actor's acting with. So the actor's kind of acting with a live green screen, if you will. It's amazing
it's
technology.
a virtual environment of sorts, but
It's a virtual environment, yes, but the actor doesn't actually just see a green screen. He actually sees the background, the finished Mos Eisley cantina and everything that's there, which is, I think, one of the reasons why it was such a success and probably why it was 14 million per episode.
I've also read that the same technology is going to be used in Strange New Worlds.
Well, if after watching The Mandalorian, it clearly works. It gives the actors, I think, that edge, doesn't it? So, does anyone remember when the first major film they did with green screen technology that was shot on a green screen stage, Sky Captain of the World Tomorrow? It was terrible. It was such a bad film. And you had some good actors in it that just didn't deliver any performances of any substance whatsoever. It was terrible.
Was Sky Captain before Avatar?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, way before it. Yeah,
about 2005, I think.
yeah.
Okay. Right. Next slide, please.
Richard, just a quick question for you. As we talked about the Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal acting in his helmet, do you think he delivered a more powerful performance than Leonard Nimoy wearing his Spock helmet?
Well, Leonard Nimoy never wore the Spock helmet in an episode.
Well, hang on, I thought it was canon.
It is canon
now.
because they
In Lower
included
Decks.
it in the Lower Decks cartoon thing.
Of course, I knew that. I was just joshing with you.
Right. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Before we move on from that slide, the other one to mention on the Critics' Choice Award is the fact that Star Trek did get nominated for a total of 7 awards. It did only receive the one for Sir Patrick Stewart, but it did also receive the Legacy Award, which was recognized Star Trek for
As a whole,
its cultural impact across the decades. And it's the first time the Critics' Choice Awards have given out that particular award. So bravo for Trek on that one.
Now, we don't do much cross-platforming, really, but Glenn says the Mandalorian what Star Wars sequel movie should have been. John gets George Lucas's original vision. So,
except Rogue One, which, for my money, is the best of the lot.
I think we can. We've got another news segment, or we're going to segue into what if Star Trek got.
No, we've got other news. We have got
other news. Sorry, I do apologize.
Professor
I'm
Whitty, next
sure.
slide, please.
This was delicious, by the way.
Okay, so
this
is an article that's been sort of doing the rounds this week, where somebody has used deep fake technology to replace Brent Spiner's old face with his younger self face in the Picard painting montage at the beginning.
Well, he's done it for every scene in Picard. The video up on YouTube, so it's from a website called deepamage.com. And if you have a read into the background of it, the guy set his computer system running, and basically it processed 5,000 images of data from the Next Generation, 2,000 images of data from Picard, and took about a week to process and reproduce this deepfake.
How much data is that?
I think that's an awful lot of data.
That's unlimited data.
Ooh.
Now, the question is, what do you think? What do you prefer seeing Brent Spiner slightly older? Or
Roll
would you
the VT.
prefer-
Let's have a look.
Well, yeah, the entire clip is about 1.5 minutes long. I've just snatched about 30 seconds of it for us to
Have a
quick
look.
review of.
roll V?
Would you like to finish it, Captain? I don't know how. That is not true, sir. You have a tell. I don't want the game to end.
I thought it was marvelous. Actually, I thought that was really good. Would it
Yeah,
work on my wife?
I hope she's not watching.
I don't know, you'll have to
Question is,
email and ask.
Would you have preferred a year ago when we went to watch the Picard premiere and we saw this first episode? Obviously, we only saw one episode. American friends saw a few more at their premiere. Would you have preferred to have seen Data show up looking like Data we remember from TNG, or was you impressed enough with Data in the Data that we got?
I'm conflicted. You see, I have a love affair with TNG. I love it to bits, and the fact that Brent Spiner turned up and Patrick Stewart turned up, I don't mind the fact that Brent Spiner is now 20 years older than he was in Nemesis. That's just a fact of life. But what I am keen and happy about is that they've sorted out the bloody awful uniform that they gave him. The mess they made of the TNG uniform there, that's been sorted out in the picture.
Okay, Richard?
I prefer the deep fake one. I'd have been happier seeing, because I don't normally get on the side of canon, but he's meant to be an android. I think the only explanation we're ever given for him aging would be that his hair would grow. If perhaps we'd had some interjection to say that also, he will age but can maybe hit the reset button whenever he wants to try and fit in, whatever. And that was explained away, fine, but it never has been. We were only ever told his hair would grow, so I think I prefer the deep fake version.
Carl?
I think I sit in James's camp there. Just the fact to have him appear on screen, full stop. That was enough for me. I'm not too worried about the appearance. They've done what they could at the time with it.
I mean, let's have a look. So it made Data so much less jarring. I mean, there was that whole, gasp in the cinema auditorium when he came on. In America, no doubt people would have burst into applause and that type of thing. But
Pride.
oh, by the way, Richard, that's when your wife rewatches the watch back. And
She's going to watch this.
or when Mrs. James texts her and says, "Do you know what Richard just said?"
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do that to my friend.
Maybe. So yes, this is the great news of that deepfake technology can be used to do this, and it may open the door eventually for us to have newer adventures with actors that you could have another TOS movie possibly. There's enough footage left, whether or not it's high definition enough to get what you need out of it, I'm not sure, but.
Well, the technology will always advance, won't it, Dan, to the point that they'll be able to capture anybody's likeness and, in theory, with the permission to do so, create anything.
So we are seeing the beginning of this technology here, and who knows in another 10, 15 years what this technology will be capable of doing. So,
well, I'd like to interject, because I thought about this process when I watched if anyone's seen The Irishman on Netflix, where they brought together back the cast from Goodfellas to do a film, and they had to shoot the characters looking a lot younger than they were. And they used a very advanced process to do this screen capture process, where they literally, the actors, the short version is the only way to do it before was for them to have bubbles on their faces, like we all seen in Lord of the Rings DVD extras. Now they can just film the actors and smooth them out, iron them, if you will, in real time whilst they're filming them. I was a little bit surprised and if you've got Netflix and you watch The Irishman, have a look at the extras that shows you how they do this. It's incredible. And I was genuinely a little bit surprised they decided not to do that with Data in Picard. A little bit disappointed in him, if I'm honest, as well. But apparently it is very expensive to do. So,
Okay, fair enough. Right, next slide, please.
Well, moving on from Mr. Data, we have Mr. Data.
Truly, this is a case of unlimited data this week.
Absolutely.
Go on, Carl.
So a company called Exo6 have just acquired the license from CBS to produce these figurines. Now the name XO6, I believe they've picked that as the company name in homage to one of the TOS episodes. Is it what little girls are made of? The planet they visited on there.
Is the planet on which they have the spinny turntable that makes because of you.
Yeah. I knew I could rely on you there, James, for that one. So yeah, these guys have got the license for doing this, and these figures are going to be 1:6 scale, which will make them anywhere around 10 to 12 inches tall. Fully approved by CBS, like I say, got the license, and apparently each individual figure they produce is also going to go to the actors for approval for the likeness. So they won't come out unless they're happy with them. This particular figure data comes with 2 different heads. It's the first contact version, so you've got the standard head, and then you've also got the grafted skin head as well.
Flesh head.
Yep, flesh head. It comes with several different poses for his hands, for the equipment that he's going to come with. And no doubt you'd be able to fashion something out of that, James, if you really tried, yes. So these go on pre-order. It's supposed to be February that you're able to pre-order them for shipping in April. And they're going to be priced at roughly £140.
Okay. Anybody tempted?
Does it have
Yes.
eyes like
Very.
action?
The only thing, I've seen this model already, and I do think it's wonderful, but I'm a little disappointed the hair isn't. For 140 quid, I don't want plastic hair. I think I'd want real hair, if I'm honest with you. But apart from that, I think it's lovely.
Picture
and
of
they've,
it looks like Odo, doesn't it? With that hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've committed to releasing 6 of this line this year. And what they've also said is that they're not ever going to release just a single figure from either a movie or series. So, for example, we can expect another Star Trek First Contact figure at some point. Now, with this level of detail, personally, I'd want to see the Borg Queen.
I was going to say, with the Data's face, you'd expect the Borg Queen.
But they've also got the license across every franchise and movie in the Star Trek universe. So literally, they could produce any figure from anything. So I think that's quite exciting.
We've had a similar release to this before. I think Paul Simons might be able to help us with this. I think. Do I have a memory, Paul, if you're listening, that you've got some original series mannequins like this?
My daughter's got a Barbie that you can fill with water, and it toilets things. It's like a baby thing. Will they have a Burnham one that cries? If not, I'd like to put that out there. Let's see if there's some demand for a crying Burnham figure.
Next slide, please.
Okay, next slide. So this popped up. This popped up on Twitter, I believe, this week. Was it, James?
It was indeed. I forget where I picked it up. It turned up on my Twitter feed, but the indication is that production is getting underway now on Strange New Worlds, and I'll be honest and say that of all the current series, that's the one I'm keenest to see. Fan as I am, of course, of Picard and how far that might go. In terms of a new monster of the week, Starfleet out there exploring on board the Enterprise under the fantastic Anson Mount as Captain Pike. Very excited and looking forward to seeing that.
Completely agree.
I think production's due to start in 5 weeks, if I remember the dates correctly.
So this is where we've learned it's easy to forge a pass because all you need is that on the back and your picture on the front and some pink tape saying what your job role is. So
there's probably a phone number on there you have to phone up Avery Brooks on to find out if it's a genuine lanyard or not, and he will confirm whether or not it's genuine.
Hello, Avery. Yeah, there's one at the front gate. Says he's involved in this new Star Trek.
Hello, this is Avery Brooks here. What is it that you want?
Is this real?
This is a genuine lanyard.
Is it not a fake?
This is not a fake.
It's a fake.
You need to send us a Vreenak to do that.
Absolutely.
He's the guy
Fake.
All right, Gollum. Right, yeah, so Strange New Worlds, very excited for that. Nice new thing. Nice Spock quote on the badge.
Yeah.
which is always nice. Right, next slide, please.
Depends who the many are, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, now this is a television series, Star Trek Lower Decks, but that's already been released. Or is this about it being released here in the UK?
That's right. It's due to hit Amazon Prime later this week, I believe, on Friday, I think it is.
Are they releasing the whole lot in one hit or episode a week?
I believe the whole lot in one hit.
Oh, look, Megan is so excited for this show. I know that she meant Lower Decks, but meant Strangely Worlds, but I can put that up against anything now, so she's now excited for this instead.
No, she's excited for this show. What we're doing right now.
Oh, is that what it is? We should just save that comment and just put it up every time we talk about any show.
Presumably, with the graphics, we can make anybody say anything if we've got their picture.
Probably. Yes, Lower Decks. I watched it all while I was in America last year, and I really enjoyed it. I did not watch it in this country.
Well, we all flew over to America that weekend, didn't we, just to watch Lower Decks?
We binge watched a lot.
I sadly returned home early from America because I couldn't be asked to watch the last few episodes.
It was still very good. I enjoyed it. I think most people will enjoy that. Right, next slide, please.
What? I mean, tonight is the last night of my paternity leave, in theory, and I'm supposed to draft a consent order. But you know what? I think I might watch the end of Lower Decks. I'll have to get on the plane back to the States, but I think I might.
So these popped up on Facebook this week. It was someone's done it. What if Star Trek was sold to Disney and Pixar, and they had done Discovery? I just thought they were fun to look at, to be honest. So.
Well, they remind me of an episode of Baywatch I watched recently.
Oh, God. Right.
No, I'll leave it at that. We're
Really?
a child-friendly show. Yeah. No, I'm going to behave this week. It's all right. So, if you go to season 4, episode 6 of Baywatch. Now, Baywatch was filmed on film, but it was released in standard definition. And it's in the opening scene, they actually rescue an inflatable sex doll from the sea. I'm guessing they figured that in standard definition you wouldn't know, and they'd never need to be upgraded to HD, but that's not where this story ends. They had to make it look like a man, so although it had like blue eyeshadow in it, and it looked basically like who's the guy in the bottom right there with the open mouth? Yeah, so basically,
yeah.
What they did was they drew a moustache on. They actually drew a moustache on it, and then they proceeded to rescue it from the water. I was watching this with my children. Wine was coming out of my nose. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Now, it's interesting you should raise this because indirectly it does relate to Star Trek. There's many cases of things that have now.
How?
There are many cases of things that have now shown in high definition Star Trek that were never designed to be seen on, in close enough detail. Lots of signs on doors have got lyrics from Gilligan's Island, etc. Back then fine details wasn't so important.
You're absolutely spot on. I remember I got really excited. This is before I met any of you guys when TNG first came out in high definition, and I must have rewatched the God, it was the Inner Light, wasn't it? For some reason, they decided to release as the big one, and I was loving watching it in HD. And the main thing I took away was the color. The color all of a sudden just looked amazing. But what you looked at and you were like, well, this is a bit weird. Like you could see the dirt on the carpet, couldn't you? But you never. Nowadays, they must get people round like to hoover everything and clean everything up before they film because it all shows up because it's all in 4K ultra high definition. It must be a much more painstaking process to get the details right.
I'm sorry, we stopped talking about Inner Light. Right, okay.
Right, yes. Do apologise.
No, let's go back to Baywatch.
Oh, God.
So, present Lady Dylan and I watched an episode, and it was great because a guy gets caught in a booby trap of some wire while surfing, and Hasselhoff goes in and rescues him. and he summons backup, and like 3 more lifeguards turn up in the super-powered Scarab powerboat, and one dives in while it's doing about 25 knots, which always strikes me as really dangerous.
Yeah.
The boat just powers off because they jump another guy in who's going to go off in lifeguard pursuit of the baddies. But this guy turns up and helps the Hoff and says, "Oh, I've got the wire cutters, Mitch," because all lifeguards carry wire cutters in their trunks as standard equipment. And,
Not just that, they do have an anti-shark spray as well.
Yeah, just like that. And then Buchanan says, "Right, get me a chopper." And they're like, they've got 2 lifeguards, a speedboat, a policeman, and they're about 50 yards from the shore, and he calls in air support. How well funded is Baywatch?
Have you seen Pamela Anderson's bikini she wears in it? They didn't have enough money for all of it.
Moving on. Redeem says Inner Light is superb. We should do a little segment every week.
Should we do a separate show about Baywatch? I think that would be fun.
I think we should review episodes of Baywatch every week as a segment on this show.
Megan says it's the 26th anniversary of Voyager this week too. So Voyager's 26 years old this year.
Yep, good call.
Unfortunately, we missed out on celebrating the silver anniversary last year because COVID rather spoiled that for us, didn't it?
Right, time is pressing on. So next slide, please, Professor Whitty.
We're done with slides.
Oh, we're done with slides. Okay.
I have taken them off the screen.
Okay, so shall we go into our
more features?
Features? You want features? Oh, I'll press features. Go on then.
Oh, splendid. Love that theme tune. Right, I've been very lazy this week. I really couldn't be bothered.
What's that from?
It's actually the Royal Philharmonic doing a version of the theme from Terrorhawks.
Brilliant theme.
Yeah, it's a good theme until you get a proper orchestra behind it. Then
Oh, the old noughts and crosses.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Little
remember that.
Jerry Anderson series. The most obscure Jerry Anderson series, by the way, is The Secret Service, and I encourage anyone watching this to look up the theme tune to The Secret Service. It's brilliant. Long and the short of it, in one sentence, Father Stanley Unwin has a magical device that can shrink people down to the size of dolls, and he shrinks his gardener down to go off on secret missions for.
James, have you been confiscating things from people again?
So to tie that to Star Trek, because we are a Star Trek show, it's a bit like that episode when the runabout gets shrunk and they're all.
Isn't that a great episode?
That's a brilliant episode.
Any fans of Inner Space or Land of the Giants or any of that when they were? Oh, what a great episode! What a great episode!
The flaw with it is that Father Unwin's default action plan is always to shrink his gardener down to the size of a doll to investigate a situation, and there are situations where that's actively a handicap and not help.
What's the really naff shrink the one the BBC did? The Borrowers with Ian Holm. That was a bit naff.
Anyway, James.
It's a mix of live action and puppets. It's brilliant. Look it up. Anyway, moving on to the clip. This week's clip. I was frankly too busy because I was running around after children and throwing up on and changing
Were
nappies.
you shrinking your gardener?
So this is all I had time to find.
Roll V2.
That's
I
mine.
really-
Now at maximum warp.
Understood. Keep me informed. Picard out. Sir?
Well, I really enjoyed that.
So that clip was
But no one got shrunk, and there were no cuttings from the inner light.
that clip basically was called Picard's Uneventful Day. Someone had just mixed that together, and it rather tickled me.
Yep, I like that.
Linda says that the episode we're talking about, one little ship, is it?
Yeah.
So the runabout's the size of like that.
Linda says Kira cracking up laughing is the best part of that episode.
So all of that episode is just a wonderful. I'm surprised you've seen it, James. Have you? Oh, no, possibly you haven't. Have we spoiled it for you?
I have seen it. It's only the last 3 or 4 episodes of Deep Space Nine.
My favourite bit of that episode is when Renee's at the end, and he's just like, "You're shorter." It's the type of thing a shapeshifter would notice. They run off, and him and Quark are just like, lovely, jubbly. Right then, what's next on the running order? I think is this one.
Yes, hello. So this week I've been reading The Last Best Hope, which is a prequel novel for the Picard series. And I have to say I've not been ever overly impressed with any Star Trek books that I've read. Some of them have been okay. None of them I'd say have been classics, brilliant. And this one, being written as a prequel, as a tie-in for a TV series, I thought was going to be a bit naff. Never really heard of the author. I was blown away. It was brilliant. It was really good. It was extremely well written. It was paced. The story was interesting. The characters were good. I really can't recommend this book enough. If you enjoyed Picard, then please read this book because you're going to really enjoy this book. If you didn't enjoy Picard, then please read this book. Picard will make a bit more sense if you read this. Even if you've already seen it. So there really is no reason you shouldn't rush out right now and get a copy of this book. It really is absolutely fantastic. It adds everything you need to make Picard better. And if you didn't enjoy Picard, if you're stupid, and this will now make you enjoy it. It's wonderfully paced. I listened to the Audible version. The narrator hits it absolutely spot on. There's nothing I can't recommend more about this particular book. Get out there and have a read.
Good.
I'm enjoying the sequel at the moment, The Dark Veil by James Swallows. And the funny thing is, Jean-Luc Picard first appears in this book at page 105.
Graham says,
why is that funny, James?
Well, it's based on Star Trek Picard, and the protagonist doesn't appear until a third of the way into the book.
Oh, right.
Graham says he got that book on Amazon for 99p before Christmas, and he's not yet read it. So,
well, you're in for a treat.
Yes, mate. Sit down and have a read. It really is. It's if you're a fan of reading or listening to audiobooks, the problem I've had with books from it's not just Star Trek. I read a lot of Alien books as well from the Alien franchise. They're just paced wrong. They always get the pace of the story completely wrong because I think in their minds they're trying to write a film or an episode. But this book doesn't. This just hits the nail on the head. It's perfect.
oh, what's this comment? I
thought, Richard, you only read books if they were chewable and you could take them in the bath.
If I could chew them.
Yes.
Right, let's have a look at this comment. This comment here, boys and girls. I watched the DS9 documentary What We Left Behind a few nights before back for the first time. 10 out of 10, excellent. Now, am I right in saying that we all saw this at Destination?
No, Richard and I went to the bar.
We went to the bar.
Why?
We stood in, right. So this is a true story. So James and I stood in the queue for it. We applauded the actors as they walked past. We did all the photo opportunities, and we're all like, "Yeah, wonderful. Let's go. Yeah, we'll see you in there. Thank you, JG Hurt." So, yeah, oh, lovely, because we had the press passes. We were very lucky.
Some people,
And then they went, right, the curtain's dropping, and I looked at James, and James looked at me and said, should we go to the debate? Yeah, we go to the debate. We figured we'd just watch the DVD. And this was we didn't mean to be insulting at all. It was just a case of James and I go to the conventions, and we enjoy seeing people and meeting people. And we knew we'd be able to watch the DVD at a later date. We knew we wouldn't be able to see these people again at a later date. So that's why we made the decision to do it. But we have both seen it since.
You have not yet watched it, then? Or you have seen it? What did you actually think to it, as a matter of interest? I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done.
I haven't seen the end of Deep Space Nine yet, so don't spoil it for me.
I really enjoyed it, and there is a crowd funder thing going for a Voyager one at the moment.
Absolutely.
So
I think the crowd.
Yeah, I'm really excited to. I really enjoyed the DS9 one. It was fascinating for me to see the writing process. I think the Voyager one will be less interesting, but I'm looking forward to it a lot nonetheless.
Ben says the DVD is hard to come by. You can stream it on Amazon Prime if you want to.
Yeah.
May I just, on the subject of Star Trek books, as we're on the Richard Reed's feature, remind everyone that this is my very most favourite Star Trek book. It's one of the original series novels, How Much for Just the Planet? And I'll read to you again. I think I've read this online once before. Just the opening paragraph. I don't know, Scotty, said Captain James T. Kirk with an offhand gesture towards the secret documents. Maybe it's just the idea of an inflatable rubber starship that bothers me. And it only gets
They watch an episode now.
So, dear viewers,
I'd love to know if Alan Window could let us know, was Star Trek ever referred to in an episode of Baywatch?
So, dear viewers, we have had a quick chat amongst ourselves this week, and we are debating doing a Star Trek After Dark, which might be a little bit more
a bit edgy, grittier,
a bit more edgy, a little bit less looking after our reputations.
Let me say what I want.
If you would be interested in such a thing, please do comment in the box. If we get enough comments or requests for it, we may consider doing it. This show works primarily because you lot are all insane enough to keep watching us on a weekly basis, which I'll be honest, absolutely blows my mind. The fact that people actually tune in to watch us is mind-bogglingly silly. And the fact that there are hundreds and hundreds a week completely throws me. And we would just like to say a quick thank you to all of you for watching, for middle-aged British blokes prattle on about Star Trek every Sunday, which is, a very nice thing.
Tangentially, we touch upon the subject of Star Trek, but we do tend to divert a bit.
Yes, exactly. We
just can't be kept on topic at all.
This is like the poster child for easily distracted children. This is what happens when you get older. But
we started doing this purely because of the first lockdown. And we wanted a reason to get together for us as much as for everyone else. That it's this is why we did it, and we've enjoyed doing it, so we've kept doing it, and our loyal viewer has enjoyed it as well. So we don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's features you'd like us to do, or something you think that might be funny for us to incorporate as a feature, or a feature you think is getting a bit boring, let us know, because it all works on feedback. So
boring? None of our features are boring.
If you want to see James do more harder alcoholic cocktails, like just nailing an entire bottle of vodka in a show, let us know. We can arrange this. Yeah.
Oh, come on, it's a Sunday. I have to work on Mondays.
Well, we'll move the show to a Saturday if you promise to drink an entire bottle of vodka in 60 minutes.
I'll have a word with... No, you can have a word with the present Lady Dillon and see if she'll excuse that.
If she says no, there's a guy that can deep fake her to make her say yes. We covered it earlier on the show.
Hello, is that Avery Brooks?
Yes, this is Avery Brooks. What do you want?
Is my wife giving me permission to do something really silly on a Saturday night?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask your wife about that.
We're never getting an interview with Avery Brooks now, don't you? Every time I put in for an Avery Brooks interview at an event, it's going to be like, no.
Well, Avery Brooks only does interviews at his piano, and he does them singing. Are you guys aware of this?
No.
This is a real thing. So Avery Brooks will only, if you watch, Shatner did a documentary called The Captains where he went and interviewed them all. And Avery Brooks said, well, you can interview me, but only at my piano, and I'll give all my answers by singing at you. And he does. And it's brilliant. And I reckon I can do a similar thing with my guitar. I can't play piano, but I can play the guitar.
Can you just answer in Irish limericks?
No, I can't do an Irish accent.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I can. I've got one impression. It's Avery Brooks.
Oh, okay.
I'm a one-trick pony.
Megan says maybe a feature for our show could be, as the crowdfunder kicks off, there could be weekly updates on the Voyager documentary.
Oh, we could get Garrett Wong to come on and tell us how it's going.
If you would like to come on and give us a weekly update or a pre-record one for the weekly, we'll play it out. We don't mind that.
I think, after watching it, I thought that the DS9 one would be a bit naff, but I really enjoyed it.
Good.
So I think that the Voyager one is going to be great as well. I'll happily push that on this show more than I push my Walker Sensations crisps.
After Dark sounds a brilliant idea. What kind of content were you thinking?
Oh, well, we're going to
have to discuss that further.
Oh, we'll discuss it another time.
You can hear about my Marina Sirtis encounter on that.
No, I'd quite like to interview Marina, so let's not upset her.
Okay.
It was great fun.
Maybe you could regale us with the tale of your Anson Mount encounter on that show again.
Oh, God. The time I encountered Anson Mount in the toilet was...
Save it, Richard.
Or maybe the time that James upset a Star Trek alumni by pronouncing their name incorrectly.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Linda Whitehall Anderegg thinks my Irish accent would be better. You're completely wrong.
James is part Irish. He has an Irish passport.
Yes.
Yeah, James has got an Irish accent.
I'm still an EU citizen.
And on that bombshell, it's goodbye from us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Press the button.